Good morning and welcome back to Concerned Citizens Media. I have two major points to discuss for today. The first one is concerning the uh, Messay Mekonnen of Esat genocide or ethnic cleansing claim is exposed by Oromiya Police Commissioner Hachalu Merdasa's public briefing on the unrest. Messay Mekonnen has been, intentionally or not, provoking ethnic-based conflict by telling us repeatedly that the victims of last few weeks' incidents were largely Amharas. According to Messay, following the days of Hachalu Hundessa, Amharas were subjected to targeted killings and property loss. He was reporting that attackers were moving around, especially in Shashamane city, with a list of Amharas in their town and cities to be targeted and killed. He was extremely biased in that reporting. According to the police commissioner of Oromiya, Commissioner Hachalu Merdasa, there was no such genocide claim in Oromiya region. In fact, the police commissioner said that the number of Oromos killed in those incidents are twice the number of Amharas killed. Mr. Hachalu Merdasa reported that 110 Oromos and only 46 Amharas and the other minorities were lost their life in the arrest. Messay and Esat must start biased reporting, and their news must be supported by a credible fact so that their reporting will not create mistrust among various ethnicities, especially between Oromos and Amharas, the two largest ethnic groups in Ethiopia. As we all know from recent reporting or analysis, Esat is acting like government media. It is advocating for the shutting down of independent media in Ethiopia, and it is celebrating these closings. So, Messay and Esat media know about the importance of free press, but now ignored it and to show their love to Abiy Ahmed. So I'm just telling them, Esat, don't forget the past, especially when you are talking about freedom of press and blaming TPLF administration for shutting down internet, for shutting down, for arresting journalists and other, go back and see you reporting and compare it what you're doing right now. So I'm just, we should advise them to be on the side of free press and for corrective and fact-based reporting. So these days they became like government propaganda. I don't know why, but I know they have complete access with the ministers and other government officials, which is good for the journalists to have. But when the government is doing something bad, they have to criticize the government. And I saw their reporting on an Amnesty International uh, uh, when it raised human rights violation in Ethiopia. Esat was trying to cover it up and challenging Amnesty International organization, which is, released its reporting based on facts and personal witness. And Esat was trying to cover it up and acting like, government propaganda or media. So I'm just advising them, slow down, go back and see your history, past history, and most Ethiopians supported you reporting, Oromos, Amaras, Tigris, all mostly on your side when you start establishing Esat. So now you change it, and we don't like that change. And you have to be independent media, stay away from, uh, covering up when the government make mistakes. The second point I have is Abiy Ahmed and his administration is carrying out a grave human rights violation. Extremely cruel and inhumane tactics are used against Oromo political prisoners and their families. How? I guess few points to mention how the government is intimidating and challenging prisoners, challenging their families, arresting in some cases the whole family with children. Cruelty is at extreme stage, and we don't have full reporting, but we have some reports from family, from phone conversations. There are some issues concerning the detained political prisoners and their families. So one, political prisoners have been denied access to their lawyers. This is a human rights violation. They have to have access to their lawyers. Second, political prisoners have been subjected to unexpected movement from jail to jails, which exposes families and lawyers to unnecessary financial expenses and emotional stresses. There are reports coming out from Ethiopia. Government security forces just coming in the middle of night and moving prisoners. Like then the next morning, the families asking for the loved ones. They tell them we don't have these prisoners here, and the families and the lawyers are exposed to unnecessary additional stresses, and this is also is a violation of human rights. Three, denying and lying about the exact location where the detainees are kept, especially to the families and their lawyers. Okay, so prisoners are already under the government controls. There is no need of hiding them and telling families lies. They are not here. We don't know where they are. Lying about prisoners to their lawyers, to their legal representatives. That is a torture, and it is against human rights protection. Prisoners have been denied the legally required family visiting times and for food and clothing deliveries. This is also reported. Number 5, sheltering prisoners and their family members on extremely cold floor. This was also reported by political prisoners' family, especially Bakala Garba's wife, not Bakala Garba's wife, yes, Bakala Garba's wife on the phone conversation. She expressed this situation, especially her Bakala Garba's daughter and his granddaughter. They were exposed to cold floor, so this is a torture, is a torture, and is a government tactic to damage those top politicians. They could be leaders of the country tomorrow, but they are demoralizing their families, demoralizing top politicians, political prisoners, by using the excuses. They already said in the reporting, the Hachalu Hundessa killers are already in their hand. Before that, they were going around. This and other dangerous and inhumane practices have been reported about the Oromo political prisoners and their families. These practices are against international human rights protection. The global community must speak out against these inhumane practices in Ethiopia. The lawyers and especially the prisoners' immediate family members are sharing the agonies associated with not seeing their loved ones in the designated government jails. This is a torture by itself, This is a torture by itself. Just okay, you can move for some reason, from place to place, if it's necessary, but the families and their lawyers, they have a right to know where these political prisoners are kept, and they should be proper jails, reasonable jails to hold them, and they should not be treated with extreme bad cold rooms. And Mr. Abiy Ahmed already claimed that prisoners will not be exposed to torture and unnecessary activities in a jail. So that promise, I know he broke many promises, but that promise and other promises he gave to Ethiopians must be kept. The Ethiopian government must stop terrorizing prisoners and their families. That is terrorizing, moving from place to place, denying the family visit, denying access to their lawyers, denying the food, denying the clothing from the families, and telling the families, we don't know where they are, blah, blah. These are all terrorizing, and they are torture in practical terms. Detainees deserve human rights protection. So, the concerned citizens media urges the European Union, the United States of America, Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, and other countries to pressure Ethiopia to respect human rights protection for the detainees, for their lawyers, and for their families. Let's stop the agonizing and pleading voice coming from the immediate families of those political prisoners. You know, and the other thing I'm gonna add on this discussion is Hachalu Hundessa deserves independent investigation. It's clear because the investigation taking place in Ethiopia is not credible. You know, sometimes government officials pointing fingers to TPLF, OLF, Shani. Now they say uh, they have the actual shooters, the three guys, and they are going around. They say foreign entities are involved because of all these various reasons. Plus, uh, the discussion the Prime Minister had 1 year ago with Hachalu Hundessa in the Prime Minister's office. That's also a concern, and that's also an indication that there's maybe a foul play. So for all these reasons, the international community, the families uh, deserve, especially Hachalu Hundessa deserve independent investigation. You know, other other than that, his days will be covered up, and no truth will come out. No truth will come out at all. So we have to demand for independent investigation for him to see the fact and to get the public trust and to get the international public trust and the domestic trust. I think it's good for Ethiopian government to have international investigators to find out who really killed Hachalu Hundessa. Yes, I want to stress that one, and we need independent investigation that will clear all the confusion, all the going around, and we may find the actual killers. So let's call for international independent investigation. Thank you for listening to Concerned Citizens Media. The campaign for freedom will continue. Justice for Hachalu Hundessa and for all Oromo political prisoners. So long, everyone. Until next time.